the story of a sheep who found his soulmate in a dog. My sister-in-law reached out to me one day about a lamb that had been rejected by his mother. She asked if I could take him in. I remember saying, okay, I'll take him. And then right after that thinking, I don't actually know anything about sheep. But by that point, it was already decided. I named him Richard. He was small, a little unsure of everything, but he took to the bottle pretty quickly. So I just started there feeding him, keeping him warm, checking on him more often than I probably needed to. It felt a bit like learning as I went because that's exactly what I was doing. Not long after, I thought it would be better if he had other sheep around, so I got 2 more. It just made sense to me at the time, like he'd be more comfortable, more normal, growing up with his own kind. But Richard didn't really pay much attention to them. They were there and he knew they were there, but he didn't try to follow them or stay close. Instead, he found his way over to Chumley. Chumley is our livestock guardian dog. He's steady, calm, and usually pretty focused on his job. He watches over everything, keeps an eye on the property, and doesn't get overly involved unless he needs to. For some reason, Richard just connected with him. Wherever Chumley went, Richard would follow. Not in a frantic way, just quietly staying near him, like that's where he was supposed to be. There was one moment that stood out to me early on. Chumley was lying down, resting, and one of our chickens kept trying to walk up close to him. Richard stepped in and kept nudging the chicken away. Not aggressively, just enough to keep some space between them. It was the first time I had seen him do something like that. After that, I started noticing how often they were together. I'd look out the window during the day, and there they'd be laying next to each other in the same spot. Sometimes Richard would walk over, circle a little, and then lay down right up against Chumley, and Chumley didn't move away. He just stayed there. Over time, it became clear that Richard was the only one Chumley really bonded with. He protects all the animals, that's what he's supposed to do, but this was different. With Richard, it was more personal. He stays close to him, watches where he goes, and seems to check on him more often than the others. It's subtle, but you can see it if you're paying attention. We have another livestock guardian dog, Chloe. One time, we caught her chasing Richard a bit and pulling at him. It looked more like rough play than anything serious, but before we could step in, Chumley already had. He went straight to her and stopped it. No hesitation. Just corrected the behavior and made it clear that it wasn't okay. And after that, it didn't really happen again. It was like he set a boundary and that was it. Most mornings when I walk outside, they're already together. Same general spot, either laying down or just standing near each other. Chumley doesn't like being inside much, he gets restless, so he usually stays out there. And Richard stays with him. When I go out, we'll walk around the property a bit. Chumley keeps an eye on everything, especially since we do have mountain lions in the area. He's always aware of what's going on around us. But even then, he still keeps track of where Richard is. Richard's grown into a curious, easygoing sheep. He knows his name, which still surprises me sometimes. If I call out to him, he'll usually come over, no matter where he is. He's gentle, not skittish, and just generally calm to be around. I didn't expect any of this when I first brought him home. I thought I was just helping out a lamb that needed to be bottle fed and raised. I didn't think much beyond that, but watching him and Chumley over time has changed how I look at animals a little. They don't always do what we expect. They don't always bond the way we think they should. Sometimes they just choose, and it doesn't seem to matter that they're different species or that it doesn't quite make sense on paper. If you're thinking about taking in an animal, especially one that needs a bit of extra care, I'd say it's worth considering. You don't have to know everything going in. You'll figure things out as you go. Just be patient with them. Give them space to adjust and let them form their own connections. It might not look the way you imagined, but sometimes that ends up being the best part.